All right, we're with another speaker at the Eclipse IoT Day, which is coming up really soon on October 24th in Ludwigsburg, Germany, as part of the EclipseCon Europe. And with me today is Alois Zoitl, who's the project leader for the Eclipse Fortiss project. Alois, welcome. Why don't you just spend a bit of time introducing yourself?
Yeah, I'm a researcher. I'm working on industrial automation systems for many, many years now. Some people may heard of Industry 4.0, where you have adaptive factories, getting IoT technologies into factories, making factories more adaptive. This is what I do for a daily business.
And this is one of the reasons I love coming to Germany is because IoT really means kind of some meaty stuff around factory automation and industrial 4.0. So why don't you just talk a bit about what Fortiss is? Because I think kind of some of the people might not quite get what it means by industrial automation. So can you explain Fortiss?
Yeah, for sure. So Fortiss is, I always explain it with two parts. Fortiss is on the one side an engineering environment, an IDE, so where you can program in a domain-specific modeling language your control application. So if you have a machine which should do certain movements, certain operations, like assembling a mobile phone, then you can specify in Fortiss how the different motors, valves and other things have to operate, which sensor information you would like to read in. And you specify this in a high-level language. The language has a very quirky name. It's called IEC 61499, which is an IEC standard. And you can not only engineer it, we have also a runtime environment, which you can put into your control devices, like if you have a Raspberry Pi or if you're an industrial PLC, you run this runtime environment into this PLC. And this runtime environment gives you now an execution environment for executing your domain-specific models. So in between is then a code generations phase where you take your the models you modeled with Fortiss IDE and downloaded them to your control devices, and then you can operate your machines based on the control program you modeled in Fortiss IDE.
That's great. So this is really a kind of a complete environment for programming machinery in factories.
Yeah, exactly. So and one thing what I forgot a little bit why we are also part of IoT is that our models are also for distributed system where you have many smaller control devices. So communication technologies, communication protocols like MQTT, like OPCOA, CoAP are getting more and more important also for industrial factories and machines. And so we provide also an easy interface to these protocols.
Great, great. So why don't you talk a bit about what are you going to be presenting at the IoT Day?
So at IoT Day, I give a lightning talk to give people an idea what it means to run an environment for embedded industrial control devices. So when you normally hear talk about doing multi-platform, you hear, yeah, I'm running on Windows, Linux, and macOS.
Right.
When we're talking about multi-platform, we are talking about 10, 15 different processors, different processor architectures, 5 to 10 different operating systems with different threading models, with different schedulers, with different TCP stacks, with different interfaces. So we spend a lot of time in Fortiss runtime environment to abstract this hardware away and make it easy to port to new platforms. And in principle, this is all about what I would like to talk to give people an idea that not only Raspberry Pis, but also other devices with different processors, maybe little endian, big endian, 60-bit, 32 bits, ARMs, NXPs, TIs, are all out in the world, are used and have their use, but we also want to program them. And with Fortiss, we would like to support people, making it easier for them.
That's great, and like I say, I think this is kind of some really heavy-duty IoT things in the industrial setting, and taking on some of the real important challenges I think that a lot of companies have of kind of the complexity of the heterogeneous environments that everyone exists has in their factories. So I think it's going to be a great conversation and a great presentation. Are you by chance going to come to the unconference on the Monday? For the Eclipse IoT work group?
I will be also at the unconference. I'm happy to meet anybody there, also discuss things about IoT and to the future development of Fortiss there.
Great.
Also, I want to hook up with other Eclipse IoT projects.
Yeah.
There are
Great.
quite some very interesting new ones out there, which I want to talk with.
Great. Well, I think the Monday is the unconference, which I think is kind of the idea is for people like yourselves and others to kind of really kind of connect with other Eclipse IoT projects and learn what they're doing. And then you'll be participating in the IoT Day on the Tuesday, which is more of a kind of traditional sessions of kind of explaining how you can use a lot of the technology. So there's going to be a lot of IoT people there, so it should be an exciting 2 days.
Definitely,
So,
definitely.
by the way, are you bringing your demo back for the Wednesday IoT Playground?
Unfortunately not. I have to leave on Wednesday afternoon, so
Okay.
And I have to travel light to go to the next session on Thursday.
Because you had one of the best demos, I think, was
thank you.
last year or a couple of years ago with using Fortiss. So, well, thank you very much, and I definitely look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, me too.